Welcome to Selenium WebDriver install. In this video, we're going to take a look at how to install the Selenium 3 version of WebDriver, but there's a couple of precursors. We need to have an editor installed, and for this course, I'll be using IntelliJ IDEA, and also we need to have a driver. And for this course, we're going to be using the Mozilla Gecko driver to automate Firefox. So you'll need to make sure you have Firefox installed already on your machine. And then lastly, we'll go ahead and do a simple browser automation to make sure that we have everything installed and configured correctly on your local machine. So let's get started. So as I mentioned, the first thing that you need is to have an editor installed on your machine. I like using IntelliJ IDEA for Java development, and there's a really good free community version. If you're interested, you can get it at jetbrains.com/idea, and you go to Download, and you select the community version and install it on your local machine. The next thing you should do is you should go to the Selenium HQ homepage at seleniumhq.org. Once you're on that page, go to the Download tab and click it. And once we're on the Downloads page, scroll down to where it says Selenium Client and WebDriver Language Bindings. We're looking for the Java language bindings, which is right here, version 3.14. Let's go ahead and click the download link, and we'll go ahead and save it to our machine. Make note of where you've downloaded the language bindings on your local machine because we'll be referencing these later. Once you've downloaded the language bindings, scroll down to the part of the page that says third-party drivers, bindings, and plugins. We need to download the Mozilla Gecko driver, and that's right here at the top, and let's go ahead and click the latest link. And once we're on the GitHub releases page, scroll down to the latest release and click the link that corresponds with your operating system. So for me, I'm using the Mac OS version, so I'll click that, and I'll save it. Also take a note of where you've downloaded the Gecko driver to, as we'll be referencing that in the code in just a little bit. Once we've downloaded our editor, which I'll be using IntelliJ IDEA here, and we've also downloaded the language bindings and Gecko driver, it's time to create a new project in IntelliJ. So we'll go ahead and click Create New Project, and let's go ahead and make sure we have an SDK installed. Make sure that you have Java 10. We'll go ahead and click Next again, and let's give this a project name. Let's call this Section 1, and we'll click Finish. All right, so now we have an empty project, and we need to go ahead and add the dependencies. So you can do that in IntelliJ by going to File, Project Structure, and then we click Modules, and then the Dependencies tab. And at the bottom here, we need to click the plus button. We say jars or directories, and then we go and we point to where we downloaded the language bindings. So we get these first two jar files, the client combined jar files. Then we do it again. We get all the contents of the libs directory. And then let's go ahead and click Apply and OK. And now we're ready to write some code. So go ahead and expand our project here. And where it says Source, let's go ahead and right-click Source. We'll say New, Java class. Let's call this Install Test. We'll say OK. All right, so now we have an empty Java class. And before we write any of our main function, let's go ahead and do an import at the top of the file. We'll say import org.openqa.selenium.firefox driver. Okay, so now we're ready to write our main function. We'll say public static void main, and we will pass in string. All right, so the first thing we need to do is we need to tell the system where our Gecko driver executable is on our system here. So we can do that by saying system.setProperty, and now we start by saying WebDriver.Gecko.driver. Actually, yeah, we need to use the double quotations. And then the second parameter we pass is the location on your machine where you've downloaded the Gecko driver executable. So for me, that's in my downloads folder, which is at users/acraze/downloads/Gecko driver. And now the next thing that we want to do is we need to create an instance of Firefox driver. And so we'll do that by saying Firefox driver. We'll call this driver. And that's new Firefox driver. So what we want to have our Firefox driver do is we want to spin up an instance of Firefox, and let's just have Firefox go visit the Selenium HQ homepage. So we can actually do that really easily. We can just say driver.get, and we pass a URL here. We say https://www.seleniumhq.org. And just to verify in the console that we are indeed on the correct page, let's go ahead and say system.out.println, and we'll say driver.getTitle, we'll print out the page title in the console, and then also let's have our program sleep just for a little bit so we can visually verify that we are indeed on the Selenium HQ homepage in the Firefox browser. So let's go ahead and have this sleep for, I guess, 1,000 milliseconds. And then last but not least, we need to go ahead and close our instance of Firefox. And you can do that really easily with driver.quit, and that will free up all the existing resources. Okay, so we just wrote some code to do a simple browser automation. And now let's go ahead and run. So we go ahead and we click Run, and it'll open up Firefox, go to Selenium HQ, and close. And it closed a little early there, so let's see. And down here in the console, printed the page title, just like we had it do with driver.getTitle. So it looks like everything is installed and configured correctly. In the next section, we'll go a bit further and we'll cover WebDriver basics and show you all the cool things that you can do to automate the web browser.